And today I'm starting a new chapter because we are starting the AI Everywhere Volume 2. And today we have actually my first one, Tatyana Amugo, and her chapter title, Building with AI Tools That Weren't Built for You. A very provoking title because actually most of the products should be, when they launch to market, they were built for us. But Tatyana has a different perspective. So, Tatyana, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Tatyana Amugo. I am originally from Kenya, currently based in Toronto, Canada. I studied computer science and I'm currently doing a graduate program in AI and machine learning. I work as an AI engineer and I think that's basically it. Yep.
Yes. Your title is highly provoking. What made you think or to choose this one? What triggered you to make that weren't built for you? Because most of, if you go to any product, it has to fit a need or to be, or actually it's promoted to be built for you.
What I can say is if you come from the global south, which is Africa, you tend to realize a lot of the products that are built here in the Silicon Valley are not made for us. You'll find that the data set is biased or they didn't do proper research with regards to us in the global south. So what made me decide to write this chapter is to bring out that point that most of the things they build, they never put us in mind. They don't allow us to be part of the process. They don't do proper research when they're building these things. You find that they don't even include some of our languages. And I believe we are close to 1 billion in Africa. So it was imperative for me to talk about it.
I totally agree. Africa is one of the actually highly populated. It's not like Asia, but between, for example, Egypt and Nigeria, we are making already a huge population and a big market. I totally agree. Your chapter actually, I'm gonna divide it in 5 sections because they are actually five important sections. The first section, which is I enjoyed very much, which is the experience of the default. And you mentioned the analogy of the Caesar analogy. You open your chapter with this is very very powerful. I really congratulate you for because it's really relate and highly touching, an important topic that holding a pair of left-handed scissors. So, can you explain how this physical feeling of friction translates to the experience of black or brown technologists um, using modern AI tools?
What I can say is I use the scissors analogy because most of us are right-handed. So we barely think about left-handed people and how they use the things we right-handed people use every day. So I wanted us to put ourselves in their situation. And if you put yourself in their shoes, you'll be able to understand what my topic is about. Because you look at it this way, for example, hiring tools, the AI tools, they don't consider people from the global south. You tend to hear that you need to have at least experience from the country you're moving to for them to even acknowledge you. You look at voice assistants where they mispronounce your name or they can't hear your accent. And then you look at AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude. If you want to talk to it in, let's say, a language that you speak, it's not very fluent. So you can see that it's also already excluding those people who are not well conversant with English. So it was very important for me to show the friction by starting with an example where everyone could understand what I mean. So yeah, that's why I decided to use the scissors analogy because we all understand that analogy and we barely think about left-handed people in that aspect.
Yes. In one of the section you mentioned is the laundering, which is again a good analogy. I totally hear you out in it. You argue that machines don't introduce bias; they inherited laundry through mathematics and hand it back to us wearing the costume of objectivity. We all know that bias actually is a feature, not a bug. So how can we help users see through this costume of neutral technology?
We'll start by the definition of the word laundering. Laundering is basically taking something in a dirty state and converting it to a possibly clean state. So that doesn't mean that it's changed what it already is. So it's just cleaning the data, but not looking at the bias the data is coming with. So I use the word laundering because I wanted us to understand that even though they do say that they are cleaning the data and they're doing their best to avoid being biased, it will still be biased because the data came in biased.
The train data, it's all, we all know that it was taken even without our consent. They taken like
Yeah,
training it from everywhere, even with wrong data, with biased data, with racist data. Everything is inherited and included, and
yeah.
we are all aware of it. But how can you help, especially new generation, how to discern the bias in it, how to see it clearly? This is bias, this is from trained data, because we don't want people to take it into like to take it personal, because actually it is a problem that happened during the data, not intentionally. They did not train it on like be racist, be gender diversified, be this, be that. No, it just happened, and we are dealing with this byproduct of it, and it's not going to be fixed because they are not going to make a new model from scratch. They are building over it, over it, over it, using the laundry technique. So how can you help new generation, like let's talk about Gen Z, to discern the difference?
I can say what I think is you need to ask yourself if
Mhm.
this data that we are working with, was it include the other data from Africa, the global south, India? Did they include data from those places as well? Is the data a full representation of what the world is? Does it reflect every single aspect that we expect in the real world? And who is building these systems? Who is building this data? Do they look like you? Is there a representation of someone who looks like you? Because if there isn't, that means you'll probably be forgotten because people will only think about their perspective and not about the perspective of someone who looks like you. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because they barely have to think about that. Same thing with the left hand versus right hand perspective. You barely think about left handed people because you've not lived through their experience or through their eyes. So for Gen Z, I'd say we should try to push for people who look like us, be it women, be it Black women, brown women, so that we're in those rooms where they're making these decisions, where they're acquiring this data, so that we make sure we are fully represented. Because if we're not there, the data will still be biased.
Yes, I totally agree. And as a computer science engineer student, do you think if there is a way mathematically to rearrange data, because we can or inject new data or do a correction? Is there is any technical way?
Yes, there is a technical way. We could inject new data, but working with the same data will not change anything. We could start again, which will take a while, but there's definitely a new way to work around this. Because the only thing we need to do is to acknowledge it exists and look for solutions on how to make this work. Because if we continue ignoring it, it won't. It will not work.
Yes, but do you see any movement or initiative started to make injecting data or correcting the data, or it's not happening?
Um, for now, I don't think so. And we keep having this movement for those of us who write about AI on Substack, about us as women having more representation in this field because of decision making. And we're still not there yet. More women are leaving the field. Black people are not being hired as much as we would expect in the tech space. Brown people as well. So we are still very far away from achieving that representation quota and making sure that the data we are working with, the systems we are building, include the people who are not being are not being included or are not part of it. The global south. There's so many things we still need to do because I believe If we include every single person, including the people from the global south, I being one of them, it will make our systems a bit more well rounded. It will include everyone's perspective. It will make the data a bit better, and it will reduce the bias that is currently in AI systems. So I think we're still not there yet, in my humble opinion.
Yes, in the other section, actually, this will take us to your point, which is I will push it back a little bit. The Matilda effect. You cited the Matilda effect, where women' scientific contribution are credited to men or erased entirely. Why it is critical for today's AI builder to understand the story of INEX 6 or Katherine Johnson. I know Katherine Johnson. First, introduce her and talk about INEX 6, and let us know why you feel Matilda effect is already happening again.
I feel like it's still happening right now because there's so many women who are doing so many incredible things in the AI space, but we barely hear about them. We barely hear about Mina Murati. We barely hear about the women, the president of
Murati,
Anthropic.
don't worry.
Yeah,
Murati is very well known,
no,
especially in Arab. It is she's not.
because
Finally,
I speak to women who are not necessarily technical, but they understand what's happening in the space right now. And if you ask them about women doing incredible things, they can barely mention any woman. They only know about Sam Altman from OpenAI. They know about Andrew Kaspar. Let me not butcher it. Yeah, they only know about those people. So you find that even women who are doing incredible things and building things and including policies that are making AI to be more safe, they're barely known. The credit goes to the men who are more loud and are more seen in these spaces. So I feel like it's still happening, but not as much as in the past. But I feel like the Matilda effect is still happening to some degree. And you find that even on Substack, the women who people would appreciate learning from and seeing their writing, they're barely on the top list of people to read on in the technical space on Substack. So I would say it's still happening, but just a tiny
yeah.
bit.
Anyway, I think our voice is getting louder right now because
Yeah.
actually we need a lot of women. We talk more about, we bring ethics in it. We ask the right questions sometimes because we are not driven, and because we are mothers. We care about children more. So our perspective, and I think our voices start to be heard. I hope this is going. You feel the same in Canada. Okay, you mentioned in one section in your chapter that human computers the roots. You point that computer was originally a job title held almost exclusively by women. Why do you think the industry shifted its narrative to suggest that women and people of color are newcomers to these fields?
I think at that time, the work that women were doing, the ENIAC 6, and the do I remember her name? The one who worked for NASA and invented and kind of created the software engineering world. In that time, doing the mathematical work and coding and typing and stuff like that was not considered male work. And then finally, when they started seeing that these things are actually building and establishing and creating amazing things, all of a sudden, oh, now it's a
Eh,
male
don't you feel this
responsibility.
don't you feel this is something from the past? Because I'm actually a different generation than yours. Like seeing your generation feeling this burden on your shoulder or this weight, it's really make me feel bad because actually we try a lot to remove this weight so your generation comes and be proud actually, and be empowered by the other woman. And we talk a lot about them. Do you still really see that women in colors or women in general are newcomers to this field? Do you
Um,
feel this way?
yeah, I feel so because I was a student in computer science. We started as 15 women. By the time I was finishing school, we were left with six. most of
Wow.
them dropped out. So because
Yeah.
it was very male dominated. Most opportunities were being given to the men. And if you are a woman, they tell you like you're better off in product management, project management. Those are where your skills, your soft skills are needed more, where you can talk to people, you can talk to the technical team and translate it to the stakeholders. So I still feel like women are sort of newcomers in the field, even
Yeah.
though there's a better representation right now, because right now the tech space is mostly, we even have the term tech bro. I wish we would have like tech girl or tech lady. So you can see it's still there, even though it's not as much as the past, it's still there. It's still there.
So, do you hope that to create like a movement to empower or to welcome more women into AI, or how do you see? How do you think the shift should happen? Like, if you have the power or have the opportunity to make a difference, what would you do?
For me, one thing I say is women, we have a very special, unique skill set. We have the ability to sit, take a step back, reflect, and then jump into something, which I think men tend not to do as much. So I feel like we're still needed in this space, especially for safeguarding AI, using AI safely. Women take the time to slow down, understand the risks, and then use the product as compared to men. So what I will do is try to encourage women to join the field as much as they can because their skill set is needed. That person taking the time to slow down and reflect on how to make this safe, how to use this better, how to make it more productive, how to avoid pushing people out of jobs. And I think it's something women are doing better. So I will try to start a movement where I show the women who are not yet part of this, how good it can look if we all join the space and we can help the women who are currently doing that, like Dr. Chinasa, who is actively working for AI safety in Africa. So if we have more women doing that, even here in the Silicon Valley, I think we will do well. So I need to spearhead and show people that there are women doing this. We just need to be more in their rooms and show that this is something that we want to be part of. And eventually we will get there. I think that's how I would approach it. First, show that it's possible, show that the skills women are bringing up benefiting the tech space, and then show that if we are more, better decisions will be made. And in the end, I guess, and I hope more women will join and see the benefit instead of sitting aside and hoping for the worst or avoiding using AI completely as they are doing now, because
Yeah.
most women are not using AI as compared to men because of this fear that it's doing more harm than good. But what if we join the space and control and make sure that it's doing more good than harm?
Like balance.
Yeah,
I
with
totally
balance.
agree because I will agree with you in this because actually we women are protected by default.
Yep.
So actually, this kind of attribute is really needed, not just for ethics, but it's to protect our system, our inner sovereignty as well. So, in the other section, you mentioned the visibility and data gaps, the mirror versus the window, which is I actually congratulate you on how to the distinction you made. You mentioned Joy Bulamwini experience is having to wear white mask for facial recognition software to see her. In your view, why it is built the window then is better to build a window than to simply polish the mirror of the existing AI system?
It's because the mirror will get dirty eventually. The mirror will, it might break, but the window will give us an opportunity to escape or to open new opportunities for people who don't have those opportunities. The window will give a space for people who are underrepresented to be represented or to be part of something big. If we build our own systems, if we train our own data, if we build things that work for people in the global south, that tackle problems for people in the global south. You see, more people will be included, more jobs will be created, um, more opportunities for representation. So instead of just cleaning the mirror and working with the mirror, we could build a window. We could build an opportunity where more of people who look like us get more opportunities, see innovation in a different perspective, include them. So my perspective was, why not just build a window, create new opportunities, be more innovative, have our own data set, train our own AI models, the large language models, include our own languages, um, have a representation for ourselves. And eventually that will mean more job opportunities, more innovation, more creativity, and global recognition because we're doing something different. We're taking a different route because we might keep begging for representation in these sides and it might not happen. Why not take the opportunity for ourselves?
Yes. Do you see? You said you're from Kenya. Do you think your country is doing any what is the strategy in your country, or what is the movement to implement or embrace AI? Is it really growing? Because I know Africa is doing a lot, especially Egypt and Nigeria. They are really booming with AI now, adaptation. How about in your country?
It's growing. You find that in universities now they're encouraging and bringing in investors, mentors who listen to students coming up with incredible ideas and give them an opportunity to show what they can bring to the world. The government recently hosted an AI summit with the French president and different presidents of Africa to see how we could bring more innovation to Africa and collaborate with people from the West. You also find that they're looking at things that solve problems Kenyans are facing, like crop um, crops farming, pesticide control, um, medical. Um, I saw recently I saw one person who has been able to create a system where it detects cancer cells in people's bodies before it becomes a risk. So I think we are on our way there. We're just not there yet, but I'm beginning to see more innovation from my country. We're learning from our Nigerian brothers and sisters because they spearheaded a lot of these developments in Africa.
So there is initiative by your government to embrace AI and to integrate it in your daily lives. You
Um, they they just want to introduce it to businesses, to the government, to encourage people to use it more because, as we know right now, it increases our productivity. So the goal was to introduce it to Africa, show that we as Africans as well have something to give. We are also innovative and creative, and we are developing faster. We are doing more. We are at par with the West. So it was just an opportunity for them to show what we can offer.
It's true because actually Africa is going to be the new market to grow. We
Yeah.
have the social landscape is really growing. You mentioned in the colonial AI, you discuss how language like Yoruba are often treated as raw material for extraction rather than a design requirement. What are the real world consequences for a child, like in Kenya, or a child in Lagos, or a doctor in Nairobi when they use tool trained on Western dominant data? Do you see any effects? Or like it does it affects your culture, your identity, your heritage?
I would say um, it it sort of shows you that you are not included in the first place because believe it or not, 90% of Kenyans don't speak English. We have our own language, Swahili, and
Mhm.
it's spoken amongst East Africans in Tanzania, in Uganda, in Congo. So it's not just Kenyans who speak Swahili. And the fact that a language that is so widely spoken, it's not even part of the main large language model languages. So imagine someone who is trying to develop their business and their primary language is Swahili. They are struggling to communicate in English. They would want to use these tools to increase their business sales or to make them more productive. And when they go to use the tool, it can barely understand what they're saying. It can barely interpret and make their life easier. They will opt out of using the tool altogether because they'll be like, it's more frustrating for me than me just doing the work on my own. So it also shows them that, hey, we are not included in these things. They're telling us to use the tool, but where is the representation? Where is someone like me, a local business person? Where is the representation for me?
I know this is actually with all the minority groups, not just with Yoruba language. It's with many small language. This was actually one of the problem AI is dealing with. But do you have any like organization or any initiative by your government to adopt AI or making Yoruba model or Yoruba language model? Like we did this in Arabic. UAE actually spearheaded and started, and Egypt is doing its own language because we have different dialects. We notice it and we tackle it, we dealt with it. I are your country or like all this group of country who speak Yoruba start to do something, their own model, for example?
I know while I was in school, one of my professors had the incredible opportunity of being part of a team that was including African languages on Google. They were incorporating, I think, his native language, Luo, Yoruba, and I can't remember the Ghanaian language they were incorporating. So I'm using this example to show that if to show that it's a possibility for it to happen, but I'm guessing people don't know that they could implement such a thing. They could add Swahili as a default language in ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. I think it exists, the Swahili language, but it's not as good as the local language. They
It will need,
use, yeah, the how do I say it? It's not as good. I've tried using it and it's not good. It's not. So I'm guessing it's a response. What?
it will need practice because you need to train the data. You need more people to use it, so to train it. And if they are like introvert or like averse of using the AI tool, but I don't see it an AI issue actually. It is because AI is a tool, is a mathematical stochastic uh, system. So anyone can join, and actually, it is open source. The model, so it did China build their own. So I think it needs like a well and intention. Like we want to join, and they will start doing something. It has to come from your people, or like the Arab world did it, and Chinese did it, and I think that India is doing the same. So and Japan is doing their own model. So it's to stand up for yourself because actually it's open. It's not an AI perspective. It was done in the West as a, let's consider a demo or a model to follow. So to join in, actually, it will take your government or your people to say, we want to be to join you. We are here, and we are going to introduce our language and integrate it in. It is not something that AI has to do. It is people has to join or integrate. Or what do you think?
I agree. And that's basically the reason why I wrote the chapter. I wanted to show them that examples of people who noticed something is missing and they took the initiative to include themselves. So I just want to show them it's a possibility. You don't have to beg for inclusion. You can create your own window and show them that we don't even need to use their tools. We could build our own that's native to us, that has our data, that understands our context, that understands East African context and East African businesses and East African data. So the chapter was just meant to show that people have done it. You won't be the first, you won't be the last. It's a possibility. for you to do. So it's you to sit down, ask yourself, do you want to add more on what already exists, use the infrastructure that is already there, or do you want to build your own window, build your own model, start from scratch, train your own data sets, and create your own opportunity? So it's more for the reader to ask themselves, do I want to build with tools that were not built for me, or do I want to create something that includes me? So I agree with you wholeheartedly that it's an initiative we need to take to make the system work for us.
One of the section of your chapter, you mentioned the burden of repair. Explain that and tell me how it is impacted, because the distinction of justice and inclusion is highly important, and I would like you to share it to everyone.
I don't honestly have a clean answer to that, because inclusion and justice are two different things. Inclusion says we need to be here, we need to be included. Justice is, why were we not included in the first place? Why was this door locked for us in the first place? Why is there no representation for us in the first place? So I think um, the people in the room who started the room, which is this AI initiative tech movement, they have changed. They have more representation and more inclusion, but the situation really hasn't changed because we still are not enough. We're still not enough in the spaces. There's not enough women. There's not enough Black people. There's not enough brown people. There's not enough indigenous people. So do we ask for us to be included? Do we ask for justice? Do we create our own spaces? So I don't have a clear answer for that. I think it depends on the reader. Do you think we should do more inclusion? Do you think there should be justice? Someone who could answer to why they're not there in the first place? Do you think that since now you know we are not there, do you think it's time for you to build something and include you and people who look like you and people and represent people? So the repair is a bit difficult because there's no right answer to it,
It's
honestly.
my answer, because justice actually is going to be relative. Justice is not the status quo. It's malleable in some situation. But your question actually, in your chapter, you asked, why is the burden of repair falling on the people who were harmed? Actually, very striking, and they shouldn't, because inclusion it should come by default and
Yeah.
exist. Inclusion is by default. It's not something we should ask for it. Your existence prove it and gives you this right. Justice is actually the redistribution of benefit. Is actually, I would not gonna use the word justice. I would say like redistribution of the benefits equally. That's what we need, because it's all about the benefit. Because justice is I'm not gonna say it's the wrong word. It's like I totally respect the way you mention it, and it's actually I enjoyed reading your chapter, but I would call it like distribution of benefits equally among everyone's. It's not to be without any bias or without any disproportionate distribution. You mentioned the infrastructure tension. You are very honest about the fact that even independent AI work often runs on server owned by the big three, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. They are actually the hyperscalers that connect all the world, not just on the AI. How do you navigate the tension between building something new and still relying on existing tech monopoly?
That's something me included who works in the AI space know. I was helping one of my friends navigate working out their startup idea. I asked him this question: do you want to use the infrastructure that already exists and make your life easier? Or do you want to build your own infrastructure, which will take a while and it will eventually work? the infrastructure that exists, it could help because they're already known, they're already established. They have millions and millions of data you could take advantage of and build something for people who look like you? Or do you want to start from scratch, like the people, the Ethio LLM, where they built Amharic, they built an LLM purely for Amharic people? Or do you want to depend on the infrastructure that exists, which will make your life easier and take you and help you, but you have to know that they might be biased and the data set that it comes with might not necessarily include what you want it to have. So it's a very funny tension. I tell people pick your struggle.
Yeah.
Choose your struggle.
Yeah. But I will actually would like to stop you here because the infrastructure when it comes, it's actually a funding because it's heavy finance. So usually in business, when you start, it's very wise to say you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do it. It's like eventually, if you have enough funding, enough finances to do it on your own, to build your infrastructure, it's okay. But if you can use what's existing now, even if it's monopoly, you can have a good contract. The government can negotiate certain benefit with it, but it is not a bad thing. Actually, it can actually push you forward, and instead of make you like lagging in a place like the construction and starting from it. So it is not right or wrong. It is a good or bad, depends, because at the end of the day, AI is a tool. The model is just a tool. You can put it anywhere. You can, if you have your own cloud servers, do it on it. So it is not the big tech. I am, they are monopoly. They have their own wrongdoing, and we all agree on that. But still, they offer like, let's go a lift or a step up to make you reach faster. So using them is not bad, but it's how to negotiate and to use to get the best for you is what matters.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I said it's your struggle. Do you want to start from scratch
Yeah.
and build the thing and it will take you probably 10 years to achieve the same result? Or do you want to use what's already available for you to get a step up and achieve the same result but faster? It's up to the person building. Because I know there are some people who hold strong opinions about what these big tech companies stand for.
There is a
So,
lot to do.
yeah. So I
But
usually say it's up to you.
how strong is the infrastructure in Kenya, digital wise?
I'd say it's pretty strong. I'd say we are better than where we were 10 years ago. I know we have tried to make everyone literate and digital aware. They have access to computers, labs, phones, internet, but it's still not there yet. So we are still quite far in terms of making sure that everyone knows and has access to these tools. But we are better than where we were 2 years
Yeah.
ago, 3 years ago.
Okay, so it's the communication infrastructure, the internet connection is strong, is stable, so you can really have or build or scale AI business there.
You can, but the internet is not as stable as here. Maybe in the big cities, in the major cities like Nairobi, yes, for sure. Um, but in remote areas, no, we're still not there yet. But there's this group called Safaricom. They do
Oh,
internet connections and mobile data. They're trying to make it accessible to everyone by building stations around the country. So I'm guessing by the time they're done with their mission, we should be there.
okay, this is really good because actually this is what one of the layers that really essential to build any or scaffold any idea on it.
Yeah.
The digital, the digital awareness. So the new generation, I think, global wise, are digital aware. So in Kenya as well, most of I'm going to say the new generation are digital aware.
Yes, they are. And there was
What is
uh,
that?
They have Instagram, Snapchat,
Mhm.
TikTok, Discord, everything that's here, we have them back home. Um, we were even fighting the movement. They wanted to build a data center in Nairobi. Microsoft wanted to build a data center. And we were fighting against it because we knew the implications of a data center in a place where we're even struggling to have consistent electricity. So even our president had to push back and say, the electricity that you guys need, we
Mhm.
don't have enough of it to build a data center here.
I think Nigeria is actually the strong one when it comes to electricity because they generate tons of electricity.
Yep.
And they build one. They actually one of the best in all Africa um, in this, and they have advantage. Um, this is I totally agree with because in Africa we are not behind. I believe we have enough calibers, and we have enough of people who want to study abroad. They have the Western. Not I'm not going to say Western mentality, but the Western knowledge. Or we are in the same bar to bring back this experience back to our countries and build something that we are here. We are included, and we can represent ourselves. You mentioned in the friction as data. You tell reader that their discomfort is the instrument that measures the system error. Collaborate on this
Um,
because this was a good question.
one second. Give me 1 second. I have written it down. 1 second.
You can read it if you want because actually discomfort can trigger if it's steered well. It can really trigger not just your curiosity. It can open doors to find solutions.
So for me, when I said friction as data is, I want people to shift from saying this tool doesn't work for me to this tool's failure to work for me is information about the tool. And how will I use that information? The tool failing to work for me is information. And information is power. If you have information, now you know it doesn't work for you. What's the next step? Is it to train more data? Is it to seek more representation? Is it to build your own thing? Is it to start something that will include what you saw was missing? So, because most people say, this doesn't work for me, this doesn't work for me, but what other steps are we taking
So
to make it work for you?
yeah, you take it as signals
Yes,
to open new opportunities, or like
yes,
use your word, new windows.
yes.
Yes. Your newsletter is called Lip Gloss and LLM. Your own work aims to make AI concept accessible through honest analogy. Why do you believe that the people AI was least designed for are actually the one the field need the most right now? And tell me about your newsletter and your audience.
I how I started my newsletter. I was going through Substack, reading, and I noticed one specific thing. There was too many technical terms, and the prerequisite was you understand technology. And I know so many people who would want to know how these things work, but they don't understand the tech. So it's pushing them away and scaring them because they feel like this is not something accessible for me. So I started the newsletter, called it a simple name, Lip Gloss to LLMs, to show that, yes, women like me who love makeup and love lip gloss also understand LLMs. So to show you that, yes, there's representation for you too who loves beauty. You can love beauty and want to know what's happening in the tech world. So I started the newsletter, made simple analogies, human examples in my daily life, mistakes I've also made while being an AI engineer, to show people that, yes, we can learn this. Yes, you can be part of this. Yes, you can understand what an LLM is. Yes, you can know that AI is different from machine learning and it's different from deep learning. And we cannot push AI out because AI has existed for many years. It's been used in medical imaging for so many years. We are using it on Netflix as a recommendation engine. So for you to know what AI is will help you understand why pushing it out and stopping it and banning it is not the solution because it's existed way before LLMs even came to the picture. So I just want to make it inclusive for people like me who hate newsletters that talk about tech. I see a newsletter where they're giving formulas and I'm like, no, it's too boring. I just want you to feel like, yeah, I'm part of this. I also started new series called Girl Read This to give people updates on what's happening in the tech space. AI privacy, things happening, people in the tech space you don't know about, you should probably know about, things that will affect you and me, and they need your voice. So I'm figuring it out along the way, but it's just a safe space for anyone who is scared of joining the tech space to join and see that it's fun. It's information is power. That what we know, you can know these things and not know the deep technical aspect of it. You can know what an LLM does and what AI is without knowing the mathematical formula behind it. And you can love makeup, you can love hair, you can love lifestyle and still love tech. You can still know about tech. So I go figuring it out along the way. And I think I found my audience. I get people telling me that they love this series that I do because it's helped them understand things from a different perspective. So I thought there was no space for me, but yeah, there is. There is very big space. And I hope more people keep seeing what I'm trying to accomplish because I just want more women to be part of this so that we are more in the rooms where the big decisions are made and we know what is affecting us and we understand this technology that's affecting us and we help our kids understand what's happening because most likely our kids are the ones who will be affected by the technology that's being built now. So I just want us to be literate. I want us to know what's happening here, basically.
I totally agree. I'm going to mention your newsletter so for everyone who would like to join you and read about your new series. I think I covered your chapter. Is there anything you'd like to mention or highlight or a message for your generation, Gen Z, for women all over the world, not just Africa? And I hope we talk more about Africa because there is a lot of going on in Egypt, Nigeria, Congo, South Africa. We are all adopting AI in different sphere and we are growing. And there is a huge market and potential. So, what is your final message or the one word you want to send it to the whole world? Woman.
I would say we are kind of in a technological slope. We're not building many new things, but that shouldn't deter you from building. It should push you to build. It should push you to innovate. It should push you to build tools that are meant for you. It should push you to ask for inclusion so that the tools right now include you too. It should push you to want to build something or build what you wanted to build and you are scared of. To the new generation, my generation, Gen Z, we can demonstrate all we want, but we're not in the rooms where the big decisions are being made. So we either join them and work for
Great
what we
one.
want, or we get left behind and the
Oh,
decisions are
leave me
left.
alone.
Yeah. So we need to actively work towards this. It's not I don't want to work with AI, so I'm gonna demonstrate. You need to be part of it. Because this is the year. This is the year where things change. These are the years where decisions are being made. So we need to know as much as we need to know. And we need to build for us to build future things that our kids will be proud of. That they will say, oh, the people who built right now included all of us, and we're enjoying these tools because they thought of us. But we can't do that if we're not part of them. So we need to be there. I insist we need to be there.
No, thank you so much, Tatiana. Gentleman Tatyana Amugo. Your chapter, I was so happy to read Young Voices from Gen Z is talking about AI and the inclusion. And you coming from Africa, I understand your struggle. I relate. So I know what you're being going through and all the stereotypes that we deal with every day. Your chapter is built with AI, the tools that weren't built for you. I highly recommend. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to
You're
put a
welcome.
voice behind the chapter.
Yes, and AI Volume 2, AI Everywhere Volume 2 is still in production, but we are going to give you news shortly where to buy it, where to download it, because it's have a beautiful voices, beautiful perspective, and I hope it will reach out to everyone. Thank you so much, Tatyana.
Thank you
Have a good
so
day.
much. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.